Okay, folks, been missing in action, but trying to climb back up in the saddle. Got a lot of topics to cover, so I guess I'm going to be doing videos for most of this evening and tonight. Let's start with something that I consider super important. Remember when the gentleman who's featured there, President Donald Trump, kept going on TV and at his speeches talking about how much of a disaster Obamacare was, and that he had a plan that was going to be better than the Affordable Care Act. You were going to have better coverage, and it was going to be cheaper, and he wanted everybody covered? Well, the plan that the Republicans formulated was just released today. And I gotta tell you, it's a doozy. One of the first things that you are not hearing on mainstream media is the fact that within the first, and there were 66 pages to this plan, and I read every last single one of these pages to save you guys some time. But you're welcome to go out there and read it for yourself. But anyway, within the first couple of pages, one of the first things I noticed was that they have or are going to immediately defund Planned Parenthood and any type of an organization or operation that provides services like Planned Parenthood. Now, that didn't get a lot of coverage on mainstream media, but you may not have heard it here first, but in case you haven't heard it elsewhere, you are hearing it here now. Planned Parenthood is a dead duck if this particular bill is signed, and it's called the American Health Care Act. And in my opinion, it's anything but American. Now, let's go through some of the features. As I indicated, they specifically defund Planned Parenthood, and they specifically name Planned Parenthood in the bill, and any organization that's either a subsidiary or affiliate or basically has walked past Planned Parenthood is basically defunded and not eligible to receive any types of funding. That's one. Okay, number two, they have removed the penalty on people who don't get insurance, and that is effective immediately upon the bill passing and being signed by the president. Number three, now here's the good part. The actual repeal of parts, and I do mean parts, of the Affordable Care Act don't actually go into effect until after the 2018 election, okay? And then the American Health Care Act goes into full I don't give a damn mode after the elections of 2020. And I'll explain some of that to you later. For you people who are on Medicare and are benefiting from the Medicare expansion, that's approximately people living in 30 states. What's going to happen after 2020 is that they are going to begin to block grant the monies that they were contributing because of the Medicare expansion, and the monies that they are going to block grant are going to be fixed amounts. It starts off in 2020 at $15 billion a year total for all of the 30 states that are currently participating. And it slowly works its way down over 7 years to $10 billion. And then from $10 billion at the end of 7 years, it goes down to zero, zilch, nunca, nada, nada, dima, okay? Zippo. Now, that's interesting because I don't think that there are going to be less people that are going to be recipients of the Medicare expansion in those 30 states. I think it's more than likely going to be more. Translation, some people are not going to be able to obtain Medicare, and some people are going to get kicked off of Medicare. Because remember, Medicare is also administered by the states. The government contributes a lot of money to it, but the states also contribute to it. So they have control over whom they allow to enter the Medicare system and what their particular income or whatever qualifications are. Now, normally, it's age, but if you're in the know, you know that after this year, okay, the Medicare eligibility goes from 65 years old to 66 years old. So people that are turning 65 this year obviously are going to be able to sign up for Medicare, but people turning 65 next year will not. They're going to have to wait an extra year before they are eligible to sign up for Medicare. So there's going to be like a 1-year hold where there will be no new enrollees based on age for Medicare. Now, for all of you people who, especially you younger people, or even some of the older people, there is now going to be a penalty for breaks in coverage. So if, let's say you were working a job that provided you with health insurance, and for some reason you lost that job and your income was, i.e., significantly reduced, and you weren't able to maintain health insurance. Well, if you go more than 63 days without health insurance and then you attempt to re-enter the market, there is, by law, allowable a 30% penalty that you are going to have to pay for 1 year before you can get back into the normal market. Sounds like a lot to me. Now, here's the next one. Age is a factor. Well, we all knew that age has always been a factor. And even under the Affordable Care Act, age was, somewhat of a factor. But this is going into hyperdrive. Now, if you are a young person, it's no big deal. But if you're an older person under the Affordable Care Act, they could increase your premium by a maximum of 3 times that of a obviously much younger, let's call it a 20 to 25 year old, and you are 60 to 65. You would pay, if you were just entering into the market, your premium would max out at 3 times. Now, this particular bill allows that premium to max out at 5 times. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you're a 24-year-old. Your premium, which was $2,800, would now drop to approximately $2,100, which you're jumping up and down for a $700 savings. And the Republicans are hoping that that drop in the premium will be sufficient in order to attract, obviously, younger people into the insurance market. But here's the fun part. Let's say you're a 65-year-old. Your premium goes from $8,500, okay, which was approximately 3 times the $2,800. Now it goes to $10,600. There's your 5 times. So obviously the younger people who are less sick, they're going to pay less, but the older people who are going to use health insurance obviously more, they're going to have to pony up. Now, here's another fun part. The tax credits. It used to be under the Affordable Care Act, well, it still is at this moment. it used to be income-based. The Republican plan is now going to an age-based system. So for people who are 30 years old or less, they would get a tax credit of $2,000. From 30 to 40, they would get a tax credit of $2,500. 40 to 50, a tax credit of $3,000. Let me start again. Under 30, $2,000. 30 to 40, $2,500. 40 to 50, $3,000. 50 to 60, $3,500. And 60 plus $4,000. Now that sounds, fairly reasonable. The person that's up there in age is getting twice the credit as a person that's under 30. But you fail to take into account the change in the premiums. So the person that is under 30, okay, that is paying a premium of $2,100 gets a tax credit of $2,000. So he's basically paying out of pocket $100 for his insurance coverage. Sounds like a great deal to me. But now you got that person, okay, that was paying $8,500. Now their premiums go to $10,000. They're only getting a credit of $4,000. So they now have to pay $6,600 out of pocket. That sounds like a tax hike or an insurance premium jammed up my butt hike to me, because you're only getting a $2,000 credit above the younger person, but your premiums just went up $2,100, and that's if the premium stays at that $10,600 figure, and it probably will not. Low income people obviously get screwed the most, and they pretty much are going to be kicked out of the market, because if they're up in age, let's say they're in the they're 60 years old, and they're on fixed incomes, and they now are going to have to pay increased premiums, that extra $2,000 is not going to be helpful in them having to shell out, $8,000. It just is not going to happen. Middle income people are going to be fairly okay, and they've raised the cap on people that are eligible for the tax credit. The eligibility outside of the age is, sorry folks, my daughter's just coming back in town, just got a call. Anyway, they have raised the limit on people's eligibility from $48,280. Now that number is $75,000. So if you make $75,000 or less, you are eligible to get that full $4,000, where previously, if they had left that in place, you were eligible for tax credits up to the $48,280 income level. Here's another good one that people are going to love, and honestly I do too. There are going to be no new taxes on employer plans. Now, a lot of the Republicans were pushing for really, really good plans, and some not so good plans to be taxed, obviously as a benefit, and it is a benefit, but the Republicans kind of stuck to their word and said they weren't going to put any new taxes in, so they left that alone. Now, here's the kicker. How are they going to pay for this? Now, remember, they said that they were going to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, and they were going to get rid of all of the, Cadillac taxes and extra taxes that people and businesses were paying. Well, I guess they changed their mind, because they are keeping all of the Affordable Care Act's tax structures, including that Cadillac tax, at least until 2020. If they hadn't, you talking about blowing the budget out of the water, this one would have been on steroids. So again, folks, all of you people who believed Mr. Trump when he told you he was going to get you a better plan for less money and cover everybody, it ain't gonna happen. Now, word has it that this plan is never going to pass. There are already a ton, and I do mean a ton, of Republican senators from Republican-controlled states like Ohio that have said there is no way in hell that they are going to vote for this plan. Now, you throw 4 senators in with all of the Democrats, and this is a no sale. So let's see what happens. Now, again, they've released this, but it's subject to reconciliation. So the Senate basically has to come up with something that would have to pretty much pass muster. Then the 2 bills, the one from the House, the one from the Senate, come together for reconciliation. But that's only after each bill is passed in their individual houses. If the Senate doesn't pass a bill that is at least somewhat similar to this one, this puppy is dead in the water. Keep your eyes open, and again, you need to read this because there's a lot of crap in it, and I gotta tell you, you better be used to reading legalese and referring back and forth to things, because I'm used to reading crap like this, and honestly, I struggled with it, so good luck.